how to protect your kids from eating disorder. That's what we're talking about today. If you missed last week's episode, you are not allowed to listen to this one until you listen to that one. So go back.
You
listen
won't
to
understand these recommendations.
Exactly.
If
you won't understand
don't,
what's going on.
They're not going to make sense.
You won't understand what's going on.
You need to understand. You need to understand the research behind the recommendations we're going to make.
Have a frame of reference. So
Right.
if you haven't listened to that one, you need to do it now, and then I will allow you to listen to this one. But we're not going to start off with how your week's been going. We have done 3 today, and this is our 3rd. So we're going to get right into it, and you're going to hear a lot of Kelly, which is fine.
I'm going to try and let you do a little bit of talking, but this is just this is a topic that is just so close to my heart because I see so many adults struggle, and they struggled since they were kids. And, I've struggled as an adult with disordered eating patterns and body shame and all this stuff. And I don't want to see kids suffer with this. So, and I know that it's really on the parents to help their kids as much as they can in the right way. So I'm going to start with a quote that sums this up for parents just about perfectly. And that's this: it is the parent's job to provide the food and the child's job to decide how much to eat. It's really that simple. Children naturally have this ability to self-regulate their food intake before we expose them to societal and parental pressures about what, how much, and when to eat. So, TJ, you have a toddler too, right?
Yeah, he'll be 2 in October.
So he's just about the right age before being exposed to social pressures about eating. Have you, what do you notice about how he eats? Do you notice anything?
Yeah, he's picky.
He's picky?
Super picky. Let me think. He only wants certain foods when he wants them. And he loves fruit.
Does he?
A lot. He eats a lot of fruit.
Does he prefer to eat small amounts, snack throughout the day, or how,
Yeah.
what are his eating patterns like?
So in the morning he doesn't eat too much. Some days he does, other days he doesn't. And then he'll snack throughout the day as some crackers or whatever Johanna has them readily available or whatever.
Does he ever how some a lot of adults, when we go out to eat or when we eat pizza or something, we eat until we're totally stuffed and feel sick?
Oh yeah.
Does he ever do that?
I don't think so.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So
it's not like you'd be able to know, but I don't see him loathing on the ground in agony. I ate too many blueberries.
Well, right. I mean, when I eat too much of right, but even something like pizza or cookies, would he tend to eat so much that he's oh, my tummy hurts?
No, I think he's I'm done.
Right.
Yeah, it's more of I'm done. Unless it's cookies. He really likes cookies.
Right. There's always those certain things, right?
Yeah.
So I think if you watch young kids before they've had exposure to social pressures, I think we can learn a lot from that, because I came up with some points here about any frustrated parent when it comes to food and kids has likely noticed the following about toddler food behavior. The first one is they want to eat at socially inappropriate times. We eat on a schedule, right? And some of that is dictated by the fact that we either are in school or we work or whatever. But a toddler pretty much wants to eat whenever they feel hungry, whether it's a socially appropriate time to eat or not. So eating at 8 a.m., noon, and 6 p.m. is a social construct. A toddler, on the other hand, is listening to her body and eats whenever hunger happens to strike. So this is a huge, I hear adults talk about this all the time, how inconvenient it is and that their child would eat all day if they'd let them, right? I don't know.
Mine doesn't, no. It's more we're driving the car, crackers. We're oh crap, we got to find something or we'll go somewhere else.
If you left food out around your house all day though, do you think he'd just grab little bits here and there?
No, he wouldn't.
No,
not really. I mean, if he wanted it, sure, but it's not
if he's hungry.
Yeah, if he's hungry, he's going to eat it, but
right.
It's not very often. Yeah.
I think, but the tendency of toddlers is that they will just graze when they get hungry, but kind of like a lot during the day. They have tiny stomachs, so 3 meals a day is often just like too much food in a sitting for them. When So the next thing that I don't know that I've noticed is that toddlers tend to waste, quote unquote, waste food. I don't know. Do you notice this, TJ? Does your kid like kind of leave stuff on the plate?
No, he leaves it on the ground because he just throws it everywhere.
My kid's 9 and she still does that.
Yeah.
So you might be dishing out like what you feel are child-sized portions, but again, a child is really in tune with his or her hunger and fullness cues and sensations from their body that tell them when they're hungry and full. They're not trying to make you mad and waste food. They simply stop eating when they are comfortably full. And I think we just talked about this, TJ, where you probably noticed that, and I noticed this with my daughter too. Now that we've gotten back to a more, like intuitive eating, like she's, I'm not restricting any foods anymore. She stops eating when she's just comfortably full, whereas a lot of adults don't do that. I mean, I don't know. When I go out to eat, I usually.
If I'm eating a pizza, I'm eating it until it's gone.
Right, and you make yourself feel like crap. So they waste what we would think is they waste food, but really what they're doing when they leave food on their plate is they're stopping when they're no longer hungry. It's very rare to have a toddler overeat, even if it's their very favorite food. And again, I've noticed this with my kid. She simply stops eating when she's full. And what I've also noticed is that most kids can eat a meal and then they can go outside and run and play and jump without vomiting. They never eat so much that they can't go outside and run and play. Most of us adults eat so much at every meal that we feel like if you went outside and went for a run, I mean, you would, be yakking.
Yeah. Or like that thing after you eat like Thanksgiving dinner, you just like sit on the couch like, ugh.
Yeah, and it's one thing to overeat on a special occasion. I mean, that's normal, I think. But a lot of adults overeat or eat just more than they need at every meal. Again, because eating patterns are based on the individual child's body cues and hunger levels, sometimes a kid may seem to eat nothing for a few days in a row and then appear to eat everything in sight. You've probably noticed this with yours, right?
Yeah.
They go through like these phases of, oh my gosh, I can't get them to eat anything. And then all of a sudden they're eating they're eating you out of house and home. Mm-hmm. And that's a really frustrating thing for parents because sometimes you feel like your kid's not getting enough. But here's the thing. Studies show that over time, a kid's eating, like the calorie levels, they even out if you look at their calories over time.
Oh, really?
So they might eat very few one day, and then the next day or within a few days, they eat way more. So it evens out. And then another thing I've noticed is that, and this may not be true of all kids, but they eat slow. Does your kid eat slow?
No.
No?
He shoves the whole thing in his mouth.
Oh, geez, that's funny.
We had to cut the sizes of things because he would just shove the entire thing. Right. And if it's blueberries, he's got like 5 of them in his mouth.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Yeah. No, see, I've noticed the opposite. My kid eats so effing slow. And for me, because I'm usually on some sort of a time schedule, or I'm trying to get her ready for school, like to catch the bus, I literally have to get her up at least an hour before the bus comes, because not only does she struggle to eat right when she gets out of bed, but she's a slow eater. And I think that's something we should promote in our children, because most of us eat like something's going to take the food away from us. So this might not be all kids, but I just know my own kid, she eats so slow, and it's very frustrating for me, but it's actually a good thing for them to eat slow. So all of these quote unquote behaviors can frustrate parents who want to eat on a schedule, hurry through their meals to get to the next thing, and are worried about their kid either not getting enough to eat or eating too much. But we adults could really learn a lot by observing the way that young kids eat. And this is actually, I have a new course coming out. It's a mindful eating course, and I'm getting more into the intuitive eating coaching and stuff. And I just got certified as a pro intuitive eating coach, and it's about helping adults achieve a reconnection with their body and cues so that they can stop overeating. And I'm basically helping them revert back to the toddler stage of eating. So, I mean, it's the type of thing that can be useful for anybody, whether you're a parent or, you've been somebody mired in diet culture for a long time. But anyway, moving on. How do we as parents help our kids navigate food, body, and diet-centered culture? And what if your kid is overweight? What do you do then? So this is a touchy subject, but that's what we're going to talk about mostly today, is like some tips and stuff about how to help your kids not ever have an eating disorder, and just maybe promote healthy behaviors. And this is possibly the most important topic there is, at least to me it is, when it comes to health and wellness. So number one is to never put your child on a diet or restrict their food intake or even restrict types of food. So remember all those studies we talked about in the last episode about forbidden food syndrome? If it's taboo, they want it more, and they'll eat more of it whenever they can get it. So never, ever, ever put your child on a diet. It is your job to provide the food and their job to choose how much and what to eat. Now, I know some parents are thinking right now, but my kid would live on Doritos. So would mine, for a little bit. Shouldn't I expect them to eat what I make for dinner? And my answer is yes and no. And I've had to really let go of my own food rules and my expectations with my daughter. So here's kind of what I do. And honestly, I feel like this might still be forcing her to eat on the basis of my own conditions, but it's working better than what I was doing. I make dinner, and I do expect her to eat or taste some of what I prepare, and I try to cook things that she likes. She's expected to eat a fruit or a vegetable with her meal, and usually some protein or some meat. But she also knows that she can go get whatever she wants from the kitchen once she's eaten some dinner that I prepared. So like last night, she ate 2 bites of chicken, a boatload of raspberries, some carrot sticks, and then she went and got the bag of Doritos. And I kept my mouth shut. And guess what? She ate a normal amount of Doritos. When I was restricting the junk food, she'd go to grandma's and eat the whole bag, like, a big bag of Doritos. She doesn't do that anymore because she knows she can have them anytime she wants them. So TJ, I don't know if you want to take the next one. So this is tip number 2.
No, you go ahead.
Me?
I'm going to chime in.
Oh, you're going to chime in. Okay.
I'm going to chime in.
The adults have to be.
I'm taking it all in.
You're taking it all in?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did, yes. I put together this episode, and I think it's just because, of the work that I do, and it's what
Well, this is good information. I
work's
just want to yeah.
So the adults have to be on the same page. Mom, dad, grandparents, whomever the child spends the most time with needs to be on board with not commenting on weight or restricting foods. I think this is really important because mixed messages will serve to confuse the child. And in some cases, I think family counseling is probably called for here. If I could have a do-over with that mom and girl that I talked about last week, I would have recommended that I sit down with mom and dad alone, or I probably would have referred them out to a family therapist, because mom and dad weren't going to be on the same page. Like, I think I could have gotten mom on board with helping the daughter, but with dad calling the girl names and stuff.
Yeah, he's just being a D-bag.
I think that would have been tough, but you have to have everybody on the same page. So the next one, tip number 3 is to stand up for your child. If you are an overweight adult, has it ever helped when a doctor tells you you're overweight and you need to lose weight? Has it ever helped you when somebody called you fat? Chances are good that you are overweight and you don't need anybody to tell you that. And kids are the same. So keep in mind that as their parent, you might be the only person who is on their side in a cruel world. If you hear someone, your spouse, grandma, another kid, your doctor, say something about your child's weight or eating behavior, stand up and tell those people that is not okay. It's not helpful, and the research clearly shows that it's probably harmful. I don't know, TJ, you got anything to add to this?
I just can't wait I can't wait for somebody to say some shit. Can't wait. Can't wait. Watch it.
I've had to say some stuff to a couple of people, and I'm not, because I don't know who's listening to this podcast, so I'm not going to mention who it was or any names, but I've had to say some stuff because again, most people just don't realize how harmful it could potentially be.
Oh, yeah.
And like I said, I had to set myself straight about what I was expecting of my kid. So the next one, I think this is what, number 4?
Yeah.
Set a good example without saying a word. So this is where I could have done, and still sometimes I really have to bite my tongue, but this is where I could have done a lot better job because I do want my kid to eat healthy, and I do try to eat healthy, but I was like I was shoving it in everybody's face. And if I saw that they were eating something, like if I saw my husband was eating something that was, like less than healthy, like, some pasta, I'd give him a hard time, be like, oh, that's poking holes in your intestines, because of gluten.
That's
So
interesting.
if you want your kids to eat healthy eventually, you need to eat healthy too. So healthy foods need to be freely available and easily accessible, and without necessarily restricting other foods. And you need to eat healthy foods, and you need to enjoy them without pushing your healthy agenda onto other people, onto your kids, onto your husband. No foods should be red light or green light, as in the new Weight Watchers app. We discussed that at length last week. So the Weight Watchers app for kids operates on this idea of red light versus green light foods, I think. And here's the thing. Anything that's a red light food becomes irresistible and causes kids to eat more than they normally would of that forbidden food item. So make a variety of foods easily available, including the unhealthy stuff. Food is just food. Leave your judgments out when it comes to your kids. Let your kids see you eat healthy, be strong, enjoy life, and feel great, and they will eventually follow in those footsteps. Buy their favorite foods and always have them available. And I know some people are totally going to disagree with this, especially those parents who have children who are dealing with weight issues. Food is not an issue unless you make it one. Taboo equals I want it more. And TJ, the first time you drank alcohol, what was that like?
Tasted like ass.
When you were a kid, was alcohol like really taboo thing?
Not really, because we went every Sunday, every other Sunday they went to my grandmother's house and they had wine and stuff.
Right.
I just don't like the taste of ass in my mouth.
See, okay, so alcohol was never taboo in my family either. And in fact, when I was a kid, my parents would let us try wine and beer and stuff like that.
Yeah, they'd probably let me try it. I just didn't.
Yeah.
It tastes gross.
It wasn't a big deal, but have you ever met somebody who was like super restricted in that way as a kid? Like alcohol was like a taboo thing.
Yeah, they have a TV show. It's called Breaking Amish.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. And what happens to those kids?
They're crazy.
They go
off the handles.
crazy. With everything, it's alcohol and sometimes drugs and sex and all of these things. If it's taboo, they want to do it. So if you're a sugar or a carb phobe, or you fear your child gaining weight, this can be so tough. But this is something incredibly important for the parents, especially for the parents of an already overweight child. And especially if you've been restricting their food and it's gotten to the point of disordered eating habits like binging and hiding food. So here's what, and again, this is so difficult, but here's kind of what if you're in that situation, this is what I coach people to do. You need to sit the child down and say, there's going to be a change. You need to say, we're not going to try to stop you from eating any longer. It's your body, and we trust you to make the choices concerning your body. In this scenario, I would actually coach a parent to go buy copious amounts of the child's favorite junk food. So whatever they've been hiding or hoarding or binging on, make it available all the time. Tell the child they can eat as much as they want of it. No more restrictions. And here's what typically happens. For the first 2 weeks, the child overeats the food. And this is the stage where the parents really struggle because they're really fearful. And the child may even gain a little bit of weight. after all, they're afraid. The kids are afraid the parents just going to restrict their food again. But suddenly, if the parent sticks with it, the kid suddenly stops overeating that food, and the obsession with that particular food goes away, and they begin eating normal amounts of that food. And in some cases, they stop eating that food entirely because it's there all the time. They can have it whenever they want it. It's not special anymore.
Yeah, I did with Swiss rolls.
What?
8 boxes of those things, and I can't even, I eat like one and I want to puke.
So it's not about making yourself tired of the food, though.
No, I'll eat it, but it's not like I go out and buy it intentionally. It's like if I want it, sure, but it's like I'd rather have something else besides that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. This process is not about making your palate tired of a food. This process is about proving to the child, or really proving to the parents, that the child is not uncontrollable in their eating behavior, that it was the restriction of the food that caused them to have a problem with that particular food. So again, eating behavior tends to normalize if there aren't off-limits foods. And I experienced this personally with donuts. I did this process with donuts where I was eating them for like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and eating
when
as
did
much
you
as
do this? Not that long ago?
It was probably maybe a year and a half ago when I started my own intuitive eating journey.
Okay.
And it is what really proved to me that I was not uncontrollable with donuts. I really believed that donuts was something that was like a trigger, or I was addicted, and I wasn't, because now that I can have them whenever I want them, I rarely even think about them.
Yeah, just like oh, okay, sure, I'll have a donut, but
and when I do have a donut, it's a donut instead of like
a dozen,
10 or a dozen, right, in a single sitting.
Yeah.
All right, so the next thing. Never, ever, ever make comments about a child's body or how much they are eating. I don't think this needs a whole lot of explanation. It's harmful, period.
I want my kid to eat more food, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Even then, though, do you notice that, I've noticed this with parents who have kids who are underweight. It becomes a struggle in the opposite way.
Oh, he's not underweight. I'm just like, eat until you're good and whatever.
Well, that's good. That's intuitive eating, though. Yeah. So, like, telling your kid, eat until you're full and then stop eating.
He'll tell us. He'll be like, I'm all done. Okay,
right.
Whatever. You
and
sure? You sure? Okay.
That's
right,
good.
whatever.
But a lot of times parents who feel like they can't get their kids to eat, it becomes a fight to get their kids to eat more.
Sure.
Again,
but if you like you just said, it evens out over the weekend.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. It does tend to even out. So one day they're going to eat less, and then the next day or a few days later they're going to eat a bunch. So it does tend to even out. There are cases though where kids, for one reason or another, it's like a failure to thrive thing, but there's usually a medical condition involved with that.
Okay.
So you need to talk to your doctor if your child is not putting on weight or is grossly underweight. Then you need to maybe consider some things with your doctor. But in general, children will eat what they need. All right, next thing that you can do, as soon as a child is developmentally able, so if it's developmentally appropriate, you should allow them to serve themselves their food. So you're putting your food for dinner out on the table, you allow them to put the food on their own plate. So kids often need to eat less than we adults imagine that they do, and they will learn to take what they need. And further, I think it should be encouraged to tell your kids, even if there's food left on the plate, it's okay to stop eating. And I say that to my daughter all the time. If you're feeling full, it's okay to stop. We can wrap the food up for later, or we can give it to our chickens, or we can put it in the compost pile. It's not a big deal. So that's a no more clean the plate club. I know so many adults who still struggle as adults because as kids they were forced to clean their plate because of the food waste, right?
Right. Yeah.
Were you a clean plate clubber?
No, I just ate my food too fast. My dad always yelled at me, like, you don't even enjoy it.
Oh my gosh, your dad was an intuitive eater.
I guess.
Yeah. I'm a super fast eater, and I also, I was part of the clean plate club as a kid. My parents wanted me to finish my food. We didn't want to waste food, and so to this day, it is hard for me to leave food on a plate. Like if there's oh man, it just bothers me to have a little food left on my plate. So no more clean plate club with your kids, because Clean Plate Club encourages people to eat beyond their normal fullness cues. So encourage your child to stop eating when they feel full, no matter if there's food left on the plate. And in addition, if they still feel hungry, tell them it is okay to go back and get more food. So it causes them to really pay more attention to their hunger and their fullness cues. Involve kids in food shopping and cooking. Children are more interested in trying and eating foods that they have helped to prepare, and I've noticed this with my own kid.
I hated food shopping with my mom. It was like 3 hours.
My kid loves it.
3 hours?
Oh, yeah. No, we never go for 3 hours.
Because we go like every 2 weeks, and then my mom would go to like Aldi's and like Mark's and wherever. It would take forever.
See, I go to one store because I don't have time, and yeah, sometimes I spend more money, but no, I don't want to spend 3 hours at the store. My daughter, though, she loves going to the store with me because she's, and I don't know if this is my fault or not, but she's kind of like a foodie. Mm-hmm. She like goes to the cheese section and be like, "Oh, Mom, look at this aged Parmesan."
That's funny.
So, yeah, no, she loves food shopping, but she really likes to help me cook and stuff. And I noticed that she's more likely to try new things if she's had a hand in making it. Another tip that can help you encourage your kids to be more of a mindful or intuitive eater is to tell them to sit down when they eat so that they can enjoy their food. So, TJ, this is what your dad was telling you. Slow down, sit down, enjoy your food.
No, I got video games to play, Dad. Those aliens aren't going to beat themselves.
Food is meant to be enjoyed, and you don't get the full pleasure of eating if you're multitasking and you're not sitting down and actually giving the food your full attention. So encourage your kids to eat while seated and undistracted. Try not to tie food to emotional comfort. And I think we've all done this as parents. The last time my kid had a bad day at school, she came off the bus kind of, like a little tearful. And the immediate thing my mind went to was, we'll go for ice cream.
Yeah.
Which is, again, that's tying an emotional thing to the comfort of eating. And I think as much as possible, you want to avoid that and ask yourself, if your kid is struggling with something emotionally, like what can you really do to help your kid? And I think what my kid would need if she came off the bus upset about something that happened at school is she'd need me to give her a hug and tell her that it's going to be okay, versus ice cream.
Here's some ice cream. Shut up.
Yeah, right. Here's ice cream. Go away. If your kid is older, ask them how you can help them. Or if your child comes to you, that's a completely different story. If your child comes to you and says, "Hey, I feel like I need some help with my health or my weight," that's one thing. But you can ask your kids, especially the older kids, how can I help you? Do you feel like you need help? So if your adolescent or teen is having a weight or a food problem or a body image problem, simply ask them if they want you to do something or if they'd like your help. Offer to take them to counseling. You need to be 100% clear here that your offer has nothing to do with you wanting them to lose weight. You're simply offering your assistance if they want or need it. If they tell you to back off, or if they tell you no, back off. I mean, it's that simple. And especially once kids reach the teen years or, early adult years, at that point, it's really up to them what they do. You can't force a teenager or a 20-something, a young adult. You can't force them to do anything, and you're just going to alienate them. And then the last one is work on your own issues with food and body image. If you have body image issues or food issues, you need to get a handle on it. Children are not stupid. I have a little anecdotal story to tell about this. It's kind of funny. I have never ever called myself fat in front of my daughter or even uttered the words I need to lose weight in front of her. But she knew from a very young age what my healthy eating and exercise was about. When she was about 4, I decided that I was going to do, I had just started my business right after personal training school. And I was doing Facebook Live videos, like before they were cool. And so I decided to do a Facebook Live video and ask her, why does mommy eat healthy? And I thought she was going to say, because we want to be healthy and have healthy bodies. And here's what she said on Facebook Live. So I could not edit this out. Here's what she said. We eat healthy to lose weight. I was like, oh, shit. Oops.
Yeah, that's a big oopsie.
But the thing is that I never make disparaging comments about my body in front of her. And I have always said that my eating is to be healthy. But kids, they know. They're not stupid. They know what's going on. So, you have to be really careful. And I know a lot of moms who make horrible remarks about their body in front of their kids. And it's like, you need to be really aware of saying that stuff, and you need to be really careful because they pick up on that stuff. So I don't know, TJ, do you have anything to add to this? I mean, can you think of anything, like any sort of tips or anything?
Well, I'm going to stop calling myself fat in the mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't do it very often, but I don't think Levi's around, but it doesn't matter. So.
Right. It's an awareness thing.
Yeah, I think that's crazy.
I mean, really, we shouldn't be making disparaging remarks about ourselves anyway.
I'm gonna ask you about the intuitive eating after this.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I don't want to do keto anymore. Maybe I just want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like cookies. Especially
I guess
Samoa's.
My question is, for people who are doing something like keto or paleo or, strict paleo or whatever, do you picture yourself never eating cookies again and never eating pizza again? And,
No.
Right.
Ohio pie is too damn good.
I have never been there. I keep hearing about Ohio pie. I need to go there.
All right, well, little anecdote before we wrap this up. They had a pizza there that they tried for a month. It was macaroni and cheese and Doritos.
Oh, God, really?
It was good, actually. I was surprised.
Oh, man. But it's not there now?
It might still be there.
Ooh. Where is this place anyway?
Brunswick.
Oh, okay.
It's close.
Tonight. Sounds like dinner tonight.
There you go. See, Aaliyah can get her Doritos in. So, cool. So, I'm pretty good with this.
I think,
got it wrapped up.
I think we wrapped it up.
All right, guys. Well, until next time, like we always say, send us questions.
Yes, and thank you for listening.
Yes. And see you next time.
Bye.
Hey, everyone. This is TJ and
Kelly
with the Initiative Project Podcast. If you like what you heard, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any questions you'd like us to cover, please email us at initiativepodcast@gmail.com. See you next time.